city sparkled far below, indifferent to the storm brewing on the 47th floor. Crystal chandeliers cast sharp light across marble floors, now tracking the restless path of Jungkook's bare feet. His shirt hung untucked, half unbuttoned, exposing the coiled tension in his chest. Dark hair fell across his forehead, damp with sweat. Every few seconds, the tendons in his neck pulsed visibly, a vein throbbing like a second heartbeat. One step frozen by the floor-to-ceiling windows, arms crossed tight over her chest. Her posture was a wall, her face a sculpture of ice. No terror, no guilt, just cold, unyielding marble. Jungkook stopped pacing, ran a hand down his face, from forehead to jaw, prying at his skin like he could scrape off the rage. Wine. The name came out ground between his teeth, low and dangerous. Do you have any idea what you have done? She didn't flinch or blink, just shrugged her shoulders. A guttural sound tore from his throat, half groan, half growled. He crossed the room in 3 long strides, hands finding her shoulders, fingers digging into her shoulders. He could feel the delicate bones beneath her blouse, could feel how she didn't lean onto him the way she always did. Wine, he said again, voice climbing. First you used your underground network to help Rowan's family escape. She stared up at him silently, and now his jaw locked. Now you met him, alone. He shook her lightly, desperation bleeding through the fury. Do you even understand who you are dealing with? Wine raised her hand slowly, wrapping her fingers around his wrists, and removed his grip from her shoulders. I do, she said, her voice was quiet. That's why I helped them. Jungkook's chest heavy. He stepped back, raked both hands through his hair, tugged at the roots, and turned back. You don't. He stopped and clenched his jaw so hard, his muscles ached. When he spoke again, each word came out sliced and furious. He's not someone you play hero with, Wine. Her expression shifted, not to fear or anger, but disappointment. It cut him deeper than any blade ever had. Then her eyes went dark. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. So I should have left them there, she asked sharply. The wife with the fractured orbital, the 7-year-old who hadn't spoken in 3 months, the 4-year-old with cigarette burns on his back. Jungkook's glare turned arctic. You should have told me. She nodded once. Would you have helped me? His mouth opened and closed. He looked away first toward the window, then toward the shattered remains of his restraint. That's not the point. She moved before he registered it. Her hand fisted in his collar, jerking him forward so their faces were inches apart. Her voice rose, sharp, cracking like a whip across marble. No, the point is you would have stopped me. She yawned once more for emphasis. Because you care about your alliance more. Because your father sits on the Eastern Coalition. Because I'm trying to keep you alive. His roar filled the penthouse, echoed off the glass. He grabbed her wrist, not to hurt, to hold. What will you do in a week, Wine? He gave you 7 days. 7 days to return his family, or else he retaliates. Her grip on his collar loosened. Her hand fell, and for a split second, just a fraction of a second, he saw something flicker across her face. Hurt. Then it was gone, buried under that cool mask she wore like armor. I'll deal with him on my own, she murmured. Her voice had gone quiet, but not flat, wounded. You don't have to worry. Don't come in my way. She stepped back, putting distance between them. I cannot unsee the torture he'd put his wife through, those little kids. Her breath hissed. I cannot forget how terrified those little souls were. No one can stop me. Jungkook's hands curled into fists at his sides. His knuckles went white. Stop being reckless, Wine. His voice rose again, cracking with something that wasn't just anger. Fear. Raw groaning, blood-spilling fear. This is not your world. Step back. You don't think... His voice broke. He swallowed hard. You don't think what losing you would do to me. Her head snapped up. Her eyes blazed. Maybe, she said, and her voice climbed higher than his. If you saw me as more than just something to protect, you'd see I'm trying to protect innocent souls. You don't care about I do. The words landed like gunshots. Jacob stared at her. His chest rose and fell, rose and fell. He dragged a long, shaking breath through his nose. Exhaled slowly, visibly forcing the rage down into a box he had built years ago. You should have at least informed me, he said quietly and defeated. She turned. The moment was sharp, final. Her heels clicked across the marble toward the hallway. You would have locked me in this penthouse until the week passed, she said without looking back, and they would have died. The bedroom door shook the frames on the walls. For a long moment he didn't move. Then a sound escaped him, low, animal, broken. He swept his arm across the console table. Crystal was shattered, paper scattered. A glass paper which spun across the floor. He kicked the table. It flipped, cracked. He grabbed the nearest thing, a marble sculpture, and hurled it at the wall. It exploded into white dust. Do you really think I'm that inhuman and cruel? I wouldn't have helped but locked instead. Then he sank onto the couch, elbows on his knees, head in his hands, and his shoulders shook. 3 days later, 3 days, 72 hours, 4,320 minutes of silence. Jungkook counted each moment. The penthouse had become a mausoleum. Every corner echoed with the absence of her voice. The kitchen still held the coffee cup she had abandoned the morning after the fight. He hadn't let anyone touch it. The bedroom smelled like her perfume, fading slowly, and he had stopped sleeping there altogether, because waking up to her side of the bed, cold and empty, was a special kind of torture. Now past midnight, Jungkook sat slumped on the leather couch, surrounded by an archipelago of beer bottles. Some stood, most lay empty on their sides. His white shirt was wrinkled, untucked, stained at the collar. His hair hadn't seen a comb in 2 days. Dark circles carved hollows beneath his eyes, and his skin had gone the color of old parchment. He raised the half-empty bottle to his lips, swallowed the bitter liquid, and let his head fall back against the couch cushion. His throat worked, swallowed nothing but air. These days he would stand in front of her, knuckles pressed to his lips, so he wouldn't break down completely and mutter, "Wine, please talk to me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." No answer, not even a breath. Just the cold, terrible silence. He just watched her twist her wedding ring sometimes. That small gesture, the one she made when she was anxious or angry or holding something back. He had watched her spin that ring round and round, and he had wanted to smash the door down and pull her into his arms and never let go. But he couldn't, because she had built walls he didn't know how to climb. His right-hand man, 𝐒𝐤𝐿, had found him that morning, staring at the wall in his study. No meetings attended. 3 calls from the Eastern Coalition ignored. A dozen texts from his lieutenants unanswered. "𝐒𝐤𝐿, you look sick, pale. When did you last eat?" 𝐒𝐤𝐿 had laughed, a hollow, broken sound. "Worse." 𝐒𝐤𝐿 frowned and asked, "What's worse than sick?" He had looked up at 𝐒𝐤𝐿 with those bloodshot, hollow eyes and murmured, "She won't talk to me." 𝐒𝐤𝐿 had blinked, confused. "What?" "I have killed men without blinking." 𝐒𝐤𝐿 had leaned back in his chair, running a hand over his face. Watched rivals beg on their knees and never flinched, but her silence, it's a bullet I reload every second. His voice had cracked. Now alone in the dark living room, 𝐒𝐤𝐿 stared at the ceiling and let the bottle hang loose in his fingers. It was past midnight. She had been leaving before dawn, slipping out like a ghost while he pretended to sleep on the couch and coming home after midnight. 12, 14, 16 hours, without seeing her face, without hearing her voice, without touching her. He couldn't breathe. He had forgotten how. The front door opened. 𝐒𝐤𝐿's eyes flew open. The bottle nearly slipped from his fingers. He sat up too fast, head spinning from the alcohol and the sudden rush of blood. "Wine." His voice came out raw, hoarse, broken from days of disuse, and whispered, "Please," against a door that never opened. Heels clicked across the marble floor. A hand reached for the light switch. The chandelier blazed to life, flooding the living room with golden light. She stood in the entryway, wearing a black blazer and tailored pants, her hair pulled back in severe bun. Her face was makeup powdered calm, but her eyes swept the room and widened almost imperceptibly. Beer bottles everywhere, the shattered remains of the marble sculpture still dusting the far wall. The overturned table and him barefoot, shirt hanging open, face pale and drawn and utterly undone. Her throat moved and she swallowed. She looked away. That small movement, the way her jaw tightened, the way her fingers curled around the strap of her bag, told him everything. She was fighting the lump in her throat, fighting the ache in her chest, fighting the part of her that wanted to cross the room and fall into his arms. She took a step toward the hallway. The word tore from him before he could stop it. Desperate, loud, he lurched to his feet. The bottle still in his hand crashed. Its lip shattered against the floor. Glass sprayed across the marble in the glittering constellation of sharp edges and amber liquid. 𝐒𝐤𝐿 didn't look down. He was already moving to step forward. "Stop." Wine's voice cut through the room like a blade. He froze. She was already moving, crossing the room in quick, urgent strides, her heels clicking a frantic rhythm. Her eyes were fixed on his bare feet, centimeters from the glasses. "Don't move," she said, her voice lower now, but no less firm. Sit down now." 𝐒𝐤𝐿 sank back onto the couch like an obedient, punished child. Wine dropped her bag on the floor, stepped carefully around the shattered glasses, and disappeared into the kitchen. He heard the faucet run, the clink of a glass. When she returned, she was holding a tall glass of water, her expression still guarded, but her hands were steady. She held it out to him. "Drink." He shook his head vigorously and pushed the glass away with the back of his hand. 𝐒𝐿, her voice carried a warning. He caught her wrist and tugged it. She stumbled forward off balance and landed beside him on the couch, close enough that he could smell her perfume, close enough that he could see the faint purple shadows beneath her eyes that matched his own. She glared at him. "I said drink the water." He sulked, actually sulked, lower lip pushing out, brows drawing together, looking for all the world like a scolded puppy rather than the most feared mafia boss in the city. She brought the glass to his lips. He drank the entire thing in one long and desperate gulp, his throat working as the cool water slid down. When the glass was empty, she pulled it away, and his hand immediately shot out to grab her wrist again. "Don't go quite on me." His voice cracked on the last word. Before she could respond, he yanked her forward, wrapping both arms around her and burying his face in her shoulder. His whole body trembled. His fingers fisted in the back of her blazer like he was drowning and she was the only thing keeping him afloat. "I'm sorry," he whispered against her collarbone. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." She bit her lip. The cool walls around her heart splintered, hairline cracks spreading outward, leaking warmth. She had tried so hard to suppress. "You're drunk," she murmured. He shook his head, face still pressed to her neck. "No, I'm sober. Maybe slightly tipsy, but not drunk." She let out a soft, disbelieving breath. He pulled back just enough to cup her face in both hands, desperately, almost frantically. His palms warm and slightly closed against her cheeks. He forced her to look at him, and his dark eyes were rimmed, bloodshot, swimming with something raw and terrifying. "I can't live when you are like this," he said, his voice shaking. "I can't breathe without you. I don't know how to fix it. If you don't talk to me, tell me what to do. Tell me how to make it better, just..." His throat closed. "Just talk to me." She grabbed his jaw from her fingers pressed into the sharp line of his bone. "You don't fix it by controlling me." He nodded immediately, obediently. His eyes searched her face like she held answers to every question he had ever asked. "I'm sorry, love." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I was wrong. I said you were reckless." He swallowed hard. "You're the bravest person I know." She scooted away from him, just an inch, just enough to break his hold on her face. He called me liability. His hands dropped to his sides, then reached for her again, grasping desperate. He scooted closer, eliminating the distance she had tried to create. No, I called myself a coward for needing you so much. His eyes glistened, wet and terrified. I can't live without seeing you, baby. Not for 1 second. Do you understand? Not one single second. His voice broke. Can you imagine how scared I was when I learned you went to meet Rohan? He's a cold-blooded tyrant. He couldn't do anything to me. She rolled her eyes, but her lower lip trembled slightly. He wouldn't have escaped my fist. Jungkook blinked, then his lips twitched. Despite everything, the 3 days of silence, the shattered glass, the hollow ache in his chest, he reached out and flicked her nose. Your delicate little fist. She raised her brows. Are you sure about that? Wanna taste it? Her voice dropped to a dangerous purr. He tilted his head and smiled, the first genuine smile in 72 hours. Go ahead, she clenched her fingers into a tight fist, drew back and threw it at his jaw. Not full force, not even close, but enough to snap his head to the side. Jungkook fell back against the cushions, gasping and groaning in equal measure. His hand flew to his jaw, his eyes were wide. Oh my god, she scrambled closer, all her cold composure vanishing. Are you okay? I didn't even use that much strength. He held his jaw, still groaning. That was something. Her eyes narrowed. You're faking. I'm not. Jungkook. She raised her fist again. He immediately dropped the act, holding up both hands in surrender. I'm wrong. I know you're a boxing champion. That was a really hard one. I felt it. My ancestors felt it. She smiled, lowering her fist. That's what I thought. She helped him sit up, her hands gentle on his shoulders. But before she could pull away, he hooked an arm around her waist and yanked. She landed in his lap, straddling him, her thighs bracketing his hips. Go. I love you. His voice was soft and serious now, the playfulness drained away, replaced by something raw and honest. Do you know how scared I am for you every single day? His hand settled on her waist, thumb stroking small circles through her blouse. I still can't. I still see it sometimes. The night of your boxing match, coming to find you unconscious, your ribs broken, blood everywhere. I thought you were dead. She opened her mouth. I won that match, she interrupted quickly. It was worth it. The opponent was more bloodied than me, broken jaw and arm. She couldn't walk straight for a month. I don't care about the match. He pulled her closer until there was no space between them, until her chest pressed against his. I don't care about anyone or anything. You're my weakness. You're the only thing that matters, and I can't risk your life because I'm a coward, and I'm selfish, and I cannot live in a world that doesn't have you in it. She laughed soft, warm, the first laugh he had heard in 3 days. She covered his face in her hands, thumbs brushing his cheekbones. The fearless, cold-blooded mafia boss calls him a coward. That's adorable. She tilted her head, teasing. He smiled, really smiled. His eyes crinkled at the corners. If it's about you, he pressed his forehead to hers. Then yes, I am. She stayed there, forehead to forehead, breathing the same air. I don't want you to stand in front of me and protect me, Cook. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I want you to stand beside me and strengthen me. He nodded, his nose brushed hers. I become selfish sometimes, he admitted quietly. I don't even want a hot wind to touch you. I want to lock you in this penthouse and throw away the key. He swallowed. But I promise you, you will always find me beside you, not in front, not behind, beside. She smiled. Then she leaned forward and pressed a kiss to his left eye. His breath caught. She kissed his right eye. His hands tightened on her waist. And here, she murmured, kissing the bridge of his nose, and here, kissing the corner of his mouth. While she kissed his other eye again, for good measure. When she pulled back, his expression had softened completely. The tension in his jaw had dissolved. The vein in his neck had stopped throbbing. He looked peaceful. For the first time in 3 days, he pulled her against his chest, wrapping both arms around her and buried his face in her hair. She felt him inhale deeply, like he was mesmerizing her scent all over again. What did you do about Rohan? He asked quietly against her temple. She sighed and let her head fall to the curve of his neck. Nothing. Still working on it. His hands slid beneath her blouse. Warm palms pressed flat against the bare skin of her lower back. Rubbing slow switching circles, she let out a relieved breath. She didn't know she had been holding and snuggled deeper into him. He kissed the top of her head. He doesn't know you're my wife, he murmured. Not yet, but he must be suspicious. That's why he let you go. That's why he's still silent. She pulled back quietly, eyes wide. Would he make things difficult for you? Jungkook tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. His touch was infinitely gentle. He would call for a war, probably. We haven't been on good terms for the past 3 months. This would just be the excuse he's been looking for. Her face fell. Guilt darkened her features. I dragged you into it. No, he shook his head firmly. You didn't drag me anywhere. I was already standing at the edge, but I have a way to deal with him. His thumb traced her lower lip. She looked up hopeful. Let's finish him together. Her smile could have lit up the entire city. She nodded. Together. He leaned in. His lips were inches from hers. She could feel his breath warm and faintly bitter from the pear. She turned her face away. Why? I'm still mad at you, he groaned. Dropped his head to her shoulder. I'm starving for you. 3 days, baby. 3 days without touching you, kissing you. I have lost 10 pounds. She hid her smile behind her hand. Liar. I'm serious. As if I don't know you sneaked into the guest room every night and stole kisses while I was sleeping. He froze and blinked up at her. You were asleep, how do you know? She smiled and ran a finger down his chest. Because I wasn't asleep, Jungkook. I just kept my eyes closed. His mouth fell open. You. He sat up straighter. Incredulous. You let me kiss your forehead for 15 minutes and you didn't even. It was cute, she shrugged. You were whispering little apologies between kisses. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. She batted her eyelashes mockingly. Very romantic. I'm going to die out. I'm going to die of embarrassment. No, you're not. "You're too pretty to die." She patted his cheek. He grabbed her hand, held it against his cheek, and turned his head to press a kiss to her palm. "I need compensation," he murmured against her skin. "During the argument you said I would have stopped you. You said I care about my alliance more than you. That hurt, Wine. That really hurt." She grabbed his collar and tugged him toward her. "I said that because you started questioning me first. You didn't ask if I was okay. You didn't ask if Ron had hurt me. You just..." She released his collar, suddenly subdued. "You just yelled." He was quiet for a moment, then, "I was scared." "I know, and you are already surrounded by danger. I didn't want to drag you." He looked away, jaw-tied. She tilted his face back toward her. "Anyways," she said softly, "now you're dragged, so stop sulking." He continued sulking magnificently. She smirked, then she leaned toward his neck. He felt her breathe first warm, soft kissing, then her lips barely a whisper against his skin, and then she kissed his Adam's apple. His entire body went rigid. She kissed it again, slowly, deliberately. Her lips parted just slightly, and she sucked, a gentle lingering pressure against that most vulnerable part of his throat. A sound rumbled from his chest, low, deep, a groan that seemed to come from somewhere primal. Her fingers threaded through his hair, nails scraping lightly against his scalp. "Wine," his voice was wrecked hoarse. "Baby, if you keep doing that..." She dragged her lips up the column of his throat, across his jaw, toward his ear. "Keep doing what?" She murmured against his earlobe. His hand shot up, grabbed the back of her neck, and pulled her away just enough to look at her. His eyes went dark, hungry. "You're going to be the death of me." Then he smashed his lips against hers. It wasn't gentle, it wasn't soft. It was 3 days of silence and fear and aching loneliness poured into a single desperate kiss. His mouth devoured hers, and she met him with equal passion. Fingers twisting in his hair, teeth grazing his lower lip, bodies pressing together like they were trying to become one person. He pulled back just enough to breathe, forehead pressed to hers. "I missed you," he whispered. "God, I missed you so much." She kissed him again, softer this time. "I missed you too." He smiled against her lips. "Say it again." "I missed you." Again she laughed. "You're insufferable." He kissed the corner of her mouth. "But you love me." "I love you," she agreed. "Even when you are being a possessive, controlling, very bad of a mafia boss." He pulled back, offended. "I'm not. You locked me in this penthouse for a week last year because I sneezed twice in one day. That was a very concerning sneeze, Jungkook. It sounded wet." She stared at him. He stared back, completely unrepentant. "I hate you." "No, you don't." She kissed him again, and he smiled into it, and the shattered glasses glittered on the floor around them, and the 3 days of silence finally dissolved into something warm and alive and full of breath. He pulled her closer and whispered against her lips, "Don't ever go quiet on me again." She tucked her face into his neck. "Then don't give me a reason to." He held her tighter, and for the first time in 72 hours, Jungkook breathed.